before we get to the promo, let's talk about you debuting at Arthur Ashe and like what that moment felt like for you, because you were like, I mean, just from literally the beginning of you being ushered into the building and nobody knew you were there. Secrets are so rare in this company or in this business. Yeah. I feel like everything eventually gets leaked. So the fact that this was not, and shout out to Muda, because I feel like Muda being there kind of
helped us out big time. Like walking backstage, I'm just like, thank you. You know, everyone just thinks this. Yeah. So people knew that there was someone there, but they didn't see thought it was Muda, right? So I was just like, oh, perfect. And they put me in this room, and then, well, trying to get in there first of all, they gave me like a shirt, like a tennis shirt, and like I had my sunglasses, and then they had like security like all around me, you know. And first of all, the only people that knew were obviously Tony and his lawyer, and you, John, Jericho, and Britt. Until like the day of, she was still being like, well, are you coming? And I was still trying to keep it a little bit secret from her too, because I'm like, I still want to surprise some people, you know. Yeah. But I was like, so like, I remember just being like, this has to be kept secret. And I remember us talking about it, being like, it would just be such a big deal if this just wasn't leaked. And it was such a nice big surprise, you know. And so, I got there, and then they rushed me through, like, and I had to rush through where everyone was too.
Right by catering. You entered right at catering. Yeah.
I know. So everyone was in the hallways. And then I remember seeing Claudio and Pac, right? Neville and Cesaro from WWE. So I was like, I saw them and I really wanted to say hi to them because they're just really nice people. And I remember like not thinking, and I look up at Neville or Pac, and I'm just like, hey, like, you know, like going to say hi. And then the security guard just pushed my hand. Just like, no. And then he's like looking at me like, and I turn around for a second, and then he's just like, what the like, did anyone else see that kind of thing, you know? And so like I get shoved into this room. There was no toilet in there, right? And we were in there for a couple of hours.
It was hot in that room.
There was no mirror, there was no nothing, and there was no food. And so you had to run and go to catering for me to find some food and stuff.
I got you some vegan fare, some broccoli and some rice.
Yeah, exactly. And the room was right where Gorilla, which in AEW is the go position. So like I couldn't walk out even if I wanted to, because there was so much traffic there.
Yeah.
So I was just like, man, like we are stuck here. And then everyone that came to the door was like cracked a little bit, but you came and you were hanging out for a while, you know, and then John comes said hello, Jericho comes said hello. And then we finally like let Britt know too. But then the girls didn't know until just before they walked out for their match. I remember being like, okay, bring the girls in.
Right.
And they were all just like, what the like, you know, like Athena and stuff. They were just like, what the like, why didn't you tell us? And I'm just like, I didn't want it leaked. I was like, I trust people, I really do. But like, you tell one person you trust, they tell one person they trust, and then it just spirals. So I'm just I'd rather
tell a wrestler.
Yeah, telephone, tell a wrestler. That's exactly what they say. So I'm just like, absolutely not. So, but yeah, like I got too hot in there, and like during the match, I just walked out. So I got to see a lot of people before I walked out. And then a lot of people were shocked, like Malenko and stuff. They were just like, what the I'm like, I'm here, yeah. So it was really wonderful.
How about the last minute like stress of knowing if you were going to be able to have Ronnie's music to be able to use Zombified for Falling in Reverse?
That whole thing too, because you know, Ronnie's label, there's a bunch of people there, and then, you know, then Legal in AEW. So like 10 minutes before I was actually initially supposed to just walk out there, they were just like, Meech came in. Meech is mine and Renee's manager, right? He came in and he was just like, oh, I don't think we can use Ronnie's music. And I'm like, are you shitting me, bro?
Yeah.
I was like, absolutely not. Like, I can't just change the music. Like, this is the music. And it's not because it was like Ronnie's song. I'm just like, this is the perfect song.
It's perfect, yeah.
So I was just like, so then I text Tony, and Tony's in the middle of like running this show. Like the show is live right now, and he's in the go position at the monitors. You know, he's like 100 miles an hour because people are asking questions. And I text him, and straight away he like got me in this group chat with Legal and was just like, let's get this song done. And within like 2 minutes, like, they come running in there being like, okay, we got it done.
That happened so fast. It went from being like, really holy shit, what are you going to come out to 2 seconds later, never mind, everything's done. And so I was just like, thank God.
How did that happen? So I also text Ronnie too. Right. Ronnie couldn't be there this time because he had to do rehearsals because he was about to do a show, right? A festival. So I was texting with him being like, oh my God, babe, they're you're gonna let me use the song? And then he was just like, I got this. So he's doing his side and Tony's doing his side. And within like minutes, they got it done. So I was just like, oh, thank God. Renee was like, let her use it for free for the first one, you know, like we'll figure it out later on. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, thank gosh. You know.
So you walk out, crowd goes berserk.
Yeah.
Holy
insane.
shit. What like was going through your head then?
Well, at first I was like, is everyone going to know it's me because of Saraya, right? And then there's going to be some people that know it's me because of Ronnie's song, you know, like there's a handful of people that know Ronnie and I are together and they know his music, you know. So walking out and they didn't see my name at first, I was like, oh, that's like, everyone's like, there's a whole question mark going on out there. It was like quiet. And I was like, oh my and then once I actually, like my name popped up, there was like an initial like yell. And then as I walked out, the crowd just erupted. And I was just like, holy crap, like this is the loudest people have been for me ever. I was just like, this is so crazy. And this is a second comeback initially, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And people don't know why I'm there, but they're just happy that I was there. So like I come walking down the ramp and I'm just like, how do I do this? I was just, it's been so many years and you really do like, you forget. Like I've been watching my old matches back. I'm like, I forgot what I even do.
Sure, sure.
And like, I get in the ring and then I'm used to like how WWE had set things up. So like usually babyface is on the opposite side. So I'm like pointing at the heels like, yeah, I'm here, motherfuckers. And then I'm like trying to point to the babyface. I'm like, what the are they, right? And I'm just like trying to make it look not obvious. So I'm like looking around to the crowd and like kind of scanning. Like, I'm like, where the are they? Where is Tony and Athena? And then like, I'm an idiot and they're right in front of me, you know, where hard cam would be. And I'm just like, oh, there you are. And I'm like, you want to get in here? Like, you know, so it was just really surreal and it was like fantastic. I got back. Everyone was like so wonderful and just welcoming. And, you know, me and Tony scream at each other like, that's Gary, you know, like this is awesome. Like this is an incredible feeling. And my phone was like lit up. I was just like, there's no way I can look at this all. But it was all very supportive. Even social media was really nice until a week later. And then it all kind of turned a little bit. I was like, oh man. And then I remember texting you with the following week and just being like, Renee, I don't know if I can handle this. And you kind of took me off the ledge a little.
Well, let's talk about that because that is like, okay, so you come out, crowd goes nuts. Everyone's so pumped that you're there.
Yeah.
Cut to the second week. You come out, you do a promo. You and Britt are kind of like nose to nose. We now know that that's where things are headed. And you've also not done this for like 5 years. It's been a long time. I mean, even when WWE was bringing you in as GM, you weren't there all the time. Like you weren't out there cutting promos and stuff all that often. So to now be back in this world, which again, yeah, it's a different world. AEW and WWE are run differently. Yeah. And you've got to like, you're thrown in the deep end. We're out there and we're making it happen. And then the fans got up in arms about the whole thing.
Oh, man. And I didn't even think it was like that awful.
No.
You know what I mean? Like I was like, I don't think it was that bad. Like watching it back, I was like, I don't think it's that bad. But there is some fans on the internet where it's like, if you go over to AEW from WWE, they fucking hate your guts.
Yeah.
That's it. You're toast. You're dead to them. And they make it known and they go crazy. And I was like, I said to you, I was like, I haven't seen this level of toxicity in a very long time.
Yeah.
Like it is crazy. Like I can't even look at my social media. I made the rookie mistake of looking at it after the promo and people just buried me. And like, here's what it is. I didn't know what the I was going to say. There's no plan with these promos either. Like you have to go out there and say whatever, but I also don't know what I'm supposed to say.
Sure.
Like, what am I doing here? Like, what am I supposed to say? Like, what is the plan? I don't know. So I'm just like, oh, well, I can make that revolution. And then like, once I got out there, like the nerves just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was just like, and I don't want to make excuses for it. I really don't. Like I up, it is what it is. But I started stumbling my words and
saying
stuff.
Up is like drastic. It's not like you went out there and said something wrong or bad or like, you know, you went out and it was just like, shit, you've not done it in a minute and you're just in a new world and you're like readjusting. People are just very unforgiving in those situations.
So
of
unforgiving.
Like,
yeah. And they throw away like everything that you've done previously just from that one thing. And I'm like,
no, what's with
and
that?
other days you used to say I was so good, like when I was like doing promos against like Charlotte or me and AJ were going back and forth, you know, like or me and Nikki Bella. It was always like oh yeah, like we love her. And, you know, like, but then as soon as I like don't deliver a promo that's 100% to their taste, or they just didn't like her, and that is what it is. Like, people can have opinions. They really can. It's just the way
just
that
don't try to like chop your head off over
dude,
it.
they
like,
try to
shit.
like, you know, Game of Thrones would like shame me through the crowd. And I'm just like, calm down. You're like spitting on me, throwing rocks at me right now. Like, calm down.
So
and I'm
like,
just
what did that all do to you though? Like on like a real level in terms of like joining AEW, joining a women's division with like some women that you've never even met before and circumstances you've never been in before, to now having like the fans not be as like receptive as you would have assumed that they would be.
Yeah, it was okay, so the girls backstage were fantastic. I never had any issues with them. They were so welcoming, they were so sweet, and they were just like happy that I was there, and they were just really wonderful. And even up until now, they've still been really wonderful. So the whole thing about like toxicity backstage there, I'm like, I'm confused because I haven't witnessed it yet. You know, like the girls have been pretty welcoming to us, right? Like really sweet.
I mean, that also just exists everywhere. I don't know why it's so
I was just
proportion as like that's everywhere. It's not. I don't find it any different than anywhere else, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be around people 24/7, you're gonna have arguments. It is what it is.
Sure, and everyone's competitive. Like it's just the way it goes.
Yeah, so I'm just like what I expected. I was like, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. But yeah, so but the whole thing after the promo though, I was just like, holy crap. And like in me, I wish I didn't even say the boss thing.
Right.
Because like, you know, I feel like they got confused with Triple H, and Triple H has always been a fantastic boss to me. Like I really enjoyed my time in NXT. I always had the best matches at NXT too. Like I had so much fun there, and he always did listen to me. So I feel like people got a little confused with that. And it's really like, and I was just trying to do character stuff. It wasn't anything like personal, you know?
Yeah.
So, and people already know when I do interviews, like I talk nothing but positivity about WWE and my time there. And, you know, I have nothing against them. So like, but people just hung on to that too. And I'm just like, holy shit. Like, I'm like, people just like, I can't breathe. So I got to a point where I was texting you and I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, did I make a mistake? Like, what am I doing coming back to wrestling? Like, are you serious? Like, I had such a peaceful life before.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like when you're home and like the community that you've been able to create for yourself in like the Twitch world, and like, yeah, you live in a world of like curated peace essentially.
Yeah.
So when you're like thrown out of that, it is jarring to the system to like.
It really is.
Yeah, you're like, why did I sign up to have people be mean to me? What the
Yeah, it's crazy. But like, luckily, you know, Tony is also a fantastic boss too. So he just kind of like, even if he delivers something bad, he's always like very encouraging anyway. You know, he's just like, oh, I still think it's good. You know, like next week we're gonna do something better. And so, you know, he's just always like very encouraging. So I'm like, okay, like that helps a lot.